Let's understand what is cavity base, liners, and varnish. Whenever the RDT is less, the dentine becomes more permeable to all sort of toxins, irritants, and bacteria, which goes down to pulp and cause pulpal damage. That is why we need to protect pulp by using cavity base and liner. Cavity base is a material which is applied in a thickness of 0.75 mm or more, and its primary function is to provide mechanical support. But apart from that, base also gives protection from thermal shock, galvanic shock, and as well as chemical irritation. Whenever you eat hot or cold food, temperature changes can travel through enamel and dentine. And let's say if RDT is less, this temperature change can reach your pulp and cause pain. Similarly, different metallic restorations are present in mouth, and saliva act as an electrolyte here. So the electric current can be generated between two different metals, and this current can pass through dentine and irritate pulp. Chemical irritants can also injure the pulp. Let's understand how. We do know that we use various kind of restorations. This restoration can be composite, it can be amalgam, it can be any sort of metallic restoration, or in fact your dental cements. So from your metallic restoration, a lot of metallic ions, and from your composite restoration, resin monomer, and from your dental cement, acidic component can leave the restoration, and then it can pass through your dentinal tubules, and it can find its way to the pulp, and it will finally cause pulpal damage. Micro leakage is another reason how your chemicals, your fluids, and all sort of bacterias from the oral cavity can pass between the restoration and the tooth interface, and it can find its way to the dentinal tubule, and slowly from the dentinal tubules it reaches pulp and causes pulpal damage. So that is why we apply base underneath the restoration. It will basically seal the dentinal tubules and protect your pulp from electrical, chemical, and thermal damage. Some of the commonly used bases are zinc oxide eugenol, high strength base like zinc phosphate cement, zinc polycarboxylate cement, and glass ionomer cement. Now, what is a liner? A liner is a material used in a very thin layer of less than zero point 0.5 mm. Liners are placed in very deep cavities close to pulp, and its main function is the biological protection of the pulp. Liners also help in reparative dentin formation. And how does it do it? It causes some mild irritation to pulp, which leads to the differentiation of odontoblast like cells from your undifferentiated mesenchymal cells, which is already present in the pulp. Now, these cells will form tertiary dentine. Now, this newly formed dentine will act as a natural protective barrier between the restoration and pulp. Some of the commonly used liners are calcium hydroxide, biodentine, and MTA. And now, lastly, what is cavity varnish? Varnish is a material applied in a very thin layer on the cavity walls, and it forms a very thin film over dentine. So this film closes the dentinal tubules. Basically, it seals the dentinal tubules and reduce any sort of movement of fluids inside them. Varnish is mainly used under metallic restoration, so that any ions that is leaching out of the metallic restoration will not go deep down to the pulp via the dentinal tubules. Although one of the drawback of varnish is that its effect is very temporary, as it can dissolve over a period of time. So there is a very important question that whether we should apply varnish before applying base or after applying base. So remember that whenever we use zinc phosphate cement, which is a very high strength cement, but unfortunately it's quite acidic. So the acidic component can leach into the pulp. So whenever we use zinc phosphate cement, we apply varnish prior to the application of zinc phosphate base, while when we use other dental cements like your zinc oxide eugenol or zinc polycarboxylate or GIC, the varnish is usually applied after the base application and after the base hardens.